The 13th Dollhouse episode Epitaph One, the season finale, is a dramatic break from the rest of the series, taking place 10 years later in 2019 with a new group of characters. The Dollhouse technology has gotten out. The superpowers used it to fight World War III, and now it's the end of civilization. Most people have been imprinted to be mindless killers akin to zombies, called butchers. That's right, the Rossum Corporation caused the apocalypse.
I told you Rossum was evil.
A group of actuals, meaning people who aren't imprinted, travel around the ruins of LA. They consist of Mag, Griff, Zone, Lynn, and a kid named Iris. They also take along Iris's wiped father, Mr. Miller. They're afraid of any technology capable of imprinting them, which seems to include everything that emits light or sound. They head underground where they discover an entrance into the Dollhouse. The Dollhouse was abandoned long ago, and the actuals take shelter there. They turn on the generator and they're able to turn on the chair, which at some point was upgraded with a user-friendly touchscreen. They realize that it's a memory bank, storing memories that could be imprinted into someone. Hoping for the legendary miracle cure, they imprint one in Mr. Miller, who essentially turns into a Dollhouse active in tabula rasa state. He doesn't have a full personality, but he's able to describe a conversation from the memory. The memory turns out to be Adele's, and the memory is of her delivering a sales pitch to a prospective client. The actuals can't believe the source of the imprinting technology came from a brothel of all places. Feminists frequently complain that Dollhouse doesn't make the prostitution element explicit. They're called romantic engagements and such, and they say, it's a glorified brothel. Well, this is an explicit mention of it. Normally, Dollhouse episodes take place from the perspective of the Dollhouse, that doesn't like to think of itself in such terms. Well, here it is. It's called a brothel.
A brothel? You mean to tell me that the tech that punk kicked the ass of mankind was originally designed to create more believable hookers?
They imprint more memories into Mr. Miller, and we get a glimpse of what happened. An early memory shows Topher accepting the job at the Dollhouse, revolutionizing the imprinting process, which used to take hours using crude equipment. Topher and Dominic foreshadow the end of civilization through underestimating the human brain.
The human brain is a massively powerful creature. Underestimating it is usually the last mistake any culture makes.
Around this point, Iris says she needs to use the bathroom, so Lynn takes her to find one. Lynn discovers the shower and that it has working hot water, so she insists that Iris can find the bathroom herself while she takes a quick shower. After Iris leaves, someone moves around in the darkness, and then someone bludgeons Lynn to death with a flashlight. The next memory takes place sometime after the events of the previous episode. Ballard is now Echo's handler. Echo is imprinted to be an innocent Russian girl to help Ballard infiltrate the Russian mafia, and they walk off on the way to the engagement. In the elevator, Echo breaks character, revealing that she is self-aware. She has evolved to the point that imprints are like masks she can take off at any point. This is starting to have some detrimental effects, and she complains of migraines getting worse. Feminists have criticized Ballard for becoming a handler because this implies that the Dollhouse is good, but I don't think this is a good interpretation. He's helping Echo keep her evolved status hidden from Topher, implying that they're conspiring against the Dollhouse. Ballard has just acquired Boyd's philosophy of working inside the Dollhouse to keep Echo safe. Season 2 confirms this, though Joss has said that Epitaph One memories aren't perfectly canon, supposedly because memories are fallible, so they can be interpreted on their own. Back in the future, Iris screams over Lynn's body. Figuring someone else must be there, the actuals group in the chair room. They continue to imprint Mr. Miller. The next memory shows an apparent romantic relationship between Boyd and Dr. Saunders. She doesn't want him to leave, but Boyd thinks he has to run from Rossum so he doesn't put the ones he cares about in any more danger. He hugs Claire and leaves, promising he'll return. The actuals decide to make Iris an official member of the group. They give her a tattoo on her back that states her name, so that anyone could confirm she's who she thinks she is. She tells them not to tattoo her dad because he's not the person he was. They then see a figure standing in the Dollhouse. Whiskey. Whiskey specifically without any scars. She has been put into her tabula rasa state, but that was a while ago, so she's evolved to some degree, similar to when Echo was wiped in Grey Hour. The actuals think she killed Lynn, so they're about to kill her, but then she reveals that she knows the way to Safe Haven. Safe Haven is a rumored paradise land where people could live without fear of being imprinted. They get her to show them the way, and she leads them back to the chair room. They look for a hidden tunnel, but Whiskey instead points at the chair. The memories are the key to Safe Haven. The next memory shows Adele watching helplessly as Victor is stolen by Clive Ambrose, the head of Rossum. Clive has imprinted himself in an active in every dollhouse to deliver a message simultaneously. The actives will now be sold off to rich customers who want the chance to live longer by having their minds transferred to young, healthy bodies. Clive tells her that Rossum influences the government, and within a year this will all be legal. Adele wants to fulfill her promises and return the bodies to their rightful owners once their contracts run out, but Clive explains that if she doesn't comply, the Rossum Corporation will send actives to kill them all. In the future, Griff and Mr. Miller are the only ones in the imprinting room when Iris comes in. Iris coldly shoots Griff, killing him, then puts the gun in Mr. Miller's hands, walks into the corner, and screams. Zone kills the innocent active, and then Whiskey imprints herself with another memory. It's the beginning of the end of the world. Adele resisted Rossum and has been waging war with them. Rossum took Dominic out of the attic and sent him to kill Adele, which is what she wanted. He rants about how he knew Adele would let things get too far. He describes running into a physically adult male person on the street who acted like a little girl. Dominic wonders if he was imprinted or just decided to play a role, because personal identities don't matter anymore.
How's it feel to end the world, Ms. DeWitt?
There may be a way to stop it.
Adele talks about how Echo has a mutation that makes her resistant to mind-controlling technology, and how she could be used to make a cure. But he can't remember which active Echo is anymore. Whiskey realizes that someone needs to be imprinted with a physical wedge, but she doesn't know where to find it. She looks for answers in another memory. This one shows Victor and Sierra as their original identities, Tony and Priya. Tony describes things being really messed up outside, and Priya shouldn't ever go out.
You don't want to end up like November.
Priya shows him her new tattoo, implying that she goes on to organize the actuals. Tony shows her a hidden cache of wedges he's made.
No matter what happens, we have a backup here. All of us, even Caroline.
In the future, the group goes to check it out. Zone talks to Iris. There aren't many of them left and it's dangerous, so Zone thinks Iris should carry a weapon. He hands her a gun and tells her how to fire it. They go back to the chair. However, Iris pulls the gun on them. She reveals that she's not an actual, but rather an adult who doesn't want to be stuck inside a child's body. She wants to transfer her mind into Mag. She tries to kill Zone, but it turns out the gun is empty. He wipes her and explains that he checked out Mr. Miller's body. He found a tattoo that didn't say Miller, so he knew Iris was lying. Iris is imprinted with another memory. During the apocalypse, Adele has sealed the dollhouse. All the actives have been given their original personalities back and they pray for better times. Adele is summoned by a scarless Dr. Saunders to help Topher take his medicine. Topher, one of the most amoral characters, has become so guilt-ridden that he's had a mental breakdown. He lives in a pod surrounded by toys and religious items. He babbles to Adele about having a genius idea of how to weaponize the imprinting technology. Someone could create an automatic program to call every number in the country and imprint the people who answer to be soldiers. By Adele's reaction, it's implied that this has already happened. He begs Adele to not pick up the phone, and she promises she won't. Topher wonders what would be worse, to be imprinted or have to deal with knowing civilization has been destroyed. He then realizes he figured it out and he brought it forth. Feminists have called Topher evil for his actions. Certainly he's been apathetic towards the actives.
It's possible one good sneeze could bring on a seizure.
Or even worse, a sneezer.
But Topher isn't evil so much as deluded. He thinks he's on the right side and doesn't care to closely examine his beliefs.
So this is it. This is where you steal their souls.
Yeah. And then we put them in a glass jar with our fireflies.
Why is there a tall, morally judgmental man in my imprint room?
Topher isn't a sociopath. If shown the right stuff, he'll care. It's not quite redemption, but his guilt eventually reducing him to such a state should mean something.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
The dollhouse residents gather as the bricked-up door is broken down from the outside. It turns out to be Caroline and Ballard. Caroline has created Safe Haven with Alpha, and she intends to bring all of the ex-actives there. She asks Dr. Saunders to get Topher to make a scan of her mind to keep as a backup, but Claire explains that Topher never goes into that room anymore, so she'll do it instead. Adele confronts Caroline and asks if she intends to kill her. Caroline asks why she shouldn't, and Adele says she made up her mind long ago that she won't beg for her life. It's left ambiguous whether or not Caroline kills her. In 2019, Caroline is imprinted onto Iris, replacing the former personality.
Great. Puberty all over again.
Caroline is delighted to see Dr. Saunders, but of course it's Whiskey now. Caroline realizes that Claire would have wiped herself to keep from going insane from the isolation, which she can understand and respect. She also respects Whiskey as a person in her own right. Well, Caroline's willing to show them the way to Safe Haven, but the butchers find a way into the dollhouse. Whiskey tells them to go on ahead. They go up to the Rossum building while Whiskey stays behind to release deadly gas. The butchers are killed, but Whiskey dies in the process. Caroline, Mag, and Zone go to Adele's office, which has been turned into a memorial. They look across at the devastation and muse on how it came to pass.
They really thought they were helping, huh? Giving people what they needed? Is this what we needed?
No. Kids playing with matches. And they burned the house down.
So yes, the dollhouse causes the apocalypse. Though very gloomy, Epitaph One is a pretty feminist episode for its respective female characters. Female actuals are just as respected as their male counterparts. Zone is a bit sexist, but he's mean to everybody. Any condescension towards Iris is because of her age, not gender. And once Caroline's inside her, she is absolutely respected as an adult human being who can help them. Yeah, Lynn's a red shirt, but so is Griff. In the past, Adele, Claire, Caroline, and Priya are all strong women. Iris is a villain, but her malice and femininity aren't associated. Zone doesn't even know her gender identity until she asserts one.
You want Mag or you want me?
Mag, thank you.
Throughout this world, there is a pervasive theme of post-genderism, which is a science fiction concept largely born from the writings of feminist philosophers. People weren't thinking about gender until feminists started writing about it. Dominic describes the possibility of a physical man assuming the role of a young girl, evoking feminist philosopher Judith Butler's conception of gender as a performance. When the structure of society that maintains strict adherence to assigned gender roles goes away, people are free to perform gender as they wish. As for personal psychology, Mr. Miller has a mix of male and female memories, and then presumably Whiskey does as well. They presumably would be able to perfectly conceptualize their bodies as of different genders. As the writers likely had no grounding in transsexual concepts, I don't think there's any firm gender identity in the Dollhouse universe, and thus cross-gendered imprints wouldn't come along with gender dysphoria. The result is that these actives are humans that can pass seamlessly into different genders, resembling ideas suggested by feminist philosopher Donna Haraway. As I end my analyses of Season 1, I'd like to return to a point made by Anita Sarkeesian of Feminist Frequency.
If we're not supposed to like Dollhouse, which I think we're not supposed to, then why are we sympathetic with all of the characters inside of the Dollhouse?
Because it's a messed up universe. You're never sure who's good and who's bad. There are some people who are definitely pretty good and some people who are definitely pretty bad, but there's a lot of gray. Even the worst kinds of people can have some insights. And these insights shouldn't be discounted just because they come from a pretty nasty source.
He may be crazy, but he's right.
And that's pretty much what real life is like. You may have missed it with all the vampires running around, but Buffy reflected that aspect of real life too. Take it away, Buffy and Giles.
Nothing's ever simple anymore. I'm constantly trying to work it out. Who to love or hate, who to trust. It's just like the more I know, the more confused I get.
I believe that's called growing up.
I'd like to stop then, okay?
I know the feeling.
Does it ever get easy?
You mean life?
Yeah. Does it get easy?
What do you want me to say?
Lie to me.
Yes, it's terribly simple. The good guys are always stalwart and true. The bad guys are easily distinguished by their pointy horns or black hats. And we always defeat them and save the day. No one ever dies, and everybody lives happily ever after.
Liar.
The Buffy series was for teens, so Buffy has to learn this lesson for herself. She has to learn that this simplistic model is a lie. But Dollhouse is for adults who are expected to already understand that. That Dollhouse doesn't say anything more than nothing is what it appears to be.
Nothing is what it appears to be.
Isn't Joss being shifty so that he can make misogyny look good? It's a sign that Dollhouse is complex art.